Aloha Kako guys, and welcome back to Just&True. I posted a video a little earlier this morning, briefly touching upon the LA military training that's going on in that area. I've done a little bit more reading and thinking about it, and I have started to kind of draw some conclusions for myself. Now, the first thing I checked when reading into this was whether or not there's been any incidences in the area regarding high threat levels, reports of terrorist activity, possibly any armed or shootings, besides the normal shootings that LA gets. Was there any FBI, CIA, or any NSA warnings in the region or in that area for even months before? And I couldn't find anything. The only thing that I could find actually was training news. Now, since we've left the INF treaty with Russia, and even previous to that, of course, we all know that, we've been doing amazing amounts of training in everything from the South China Sea events that have been going on to China's involvement with Taiwan and now Indonesia, what's happening in the Kerch Strait before the Black Sea, Iran's Navy. All of this has pressed the Pentagon spending, and the Pentagon, particularly in the Navy and the Air Force, spending, research, R&D, and it's increased testing, and it's increased a lot of drills as far as field capabilities of these new technologies and instruments. Just recently, I think last week, we revealed, we as in the United States Navy, my bad, kind of just drove that off the edge. Anyway, the Navy did release its beautiful destroyer. I think it was a destroyer. It's a gorgeous ship. And they also came out saying that they had brand new anti-sub, anti-cruiser. The maritime activity has pushed and created a necessity for maritime defense and maritime spending and naval spending. So yesterday, or earlier this morning, we saw the P-8, which is one of its capabilities is maritime subsurface, in the water surveillance systems. It has a very unique ability to actually locate subs, locate submersible vessels. It has a great capability of tracking flight patterns, flight paths of rockets, and for anti-ballistic and anti-battery purposes. So the P-8 can also be used essentially as a sea to land anti-threat device. It can not only neutralize the vessel that originates the device or the rocket or the missile, whatever have it be, torpedo, whatever. It can also locate the flight path and track the flight path of said trajectory, of that trajectory. So right off the coast, like I mentioned earlier in my first video about this, of LA, like we all know, most people watching this channel probably know, San Nicolas Island is a particular testing island for very specific weapons testing. The weapons testing in San Nicolas is for surface to air, surface to sea, surface to surface missiles, and for defense as well. So your missile defense, your shield defense systems, your Tomahawk cruise missiles, the supersonic missiles that they're testing now that we have, but we don't gloat around the globe like Russia does, because it breaks the INF treaty, and we're better liars than Russia is. But they, long story short, they test missiles on this island. They test not only maritime missiles and maritime defense. They do maritime defense with this giant golf ball that comes out of here in Hawaii, goes up to LA, then it goes up to Anchorage. It's a subsurface vessel surveillance system trying to find communications and also trying to find the vessels themselves. So we have in the region the P-8, which is a maritime and naval searching system. It is there for not only maritime, that's a part of it. A part of its operations is specifically for maritime vessels, for searching out these submersibles, and for anti-ballistic purposes. It is implemented in what they call training, in this training process right next to San Nicolas Island, which is an anti-ballistic island, basically. They not only train ballistic and supersonic weapons there, they also train anti-ballistic weapons, their shield defense systems, the missile defense systems, and weapon defense systems and programs there. We've seen DARPA in the past do operations out of there as well. So when we see a large amount of aircraft with a small amount of soldiers, boots on the ground per se, for some reason, now I think I'm leaning towards, and I could be wrong, and I'm going to continue to update this, they could be training. In my earlier video I said there's too few troops for this to be a training purpose, for this to actually be what the official story says, and that's still true. I do believe that. I think it can't be a training purpose for personnel because there's too few of them. Special operations don't need urban city training. They train in urban city environments constantly, all the time, and they're constantly active. We've been at war for the last, 14, 15, 19 years. I mean, actually, like, since our founding, but I digress. So I do think that there is a anti-missile defense being used and being tested in LA. I don't think that it is. I think that they had to come up with a cover story of why they have military personnel, why there's a military presence in LA, what that loud boom was, the loud booms were, why they had to give a reasoning of why there's military aircraft in the area. They had to clear some of the sky. They had to clear some of the They actually, a lot of people aren't talking about this, but they actually cleared out a large area around San Nicolas and around a few kilometers out as well. So I think they were doing weapons testing for an anti-missile, anti-battery system based off of San Nicolas Island, shooting into LA or possibly past LA through to their larger military base systems and ordnance testing grounds. And the booms that were heard could have possibly been supersonic weapons testing, supersonic ballistic and missiles testing, originating from the San Nicolas Island, going, east to over LA, and being tracked with the PA system, the P-8 system, which is a known surveillance and tracking system for not only missile defense, but also for maritime defense. I think that the Black Hawks that we saw, there was very, very few of them, were just a further reason to clear the sky, a further reason and support their official story of it being military training for these boots on the ground, which we don't need. That is a ridiculous cover story. But I think that's the reason we had the boots on the ground and these Black Hawks and other helicopters being used. It was because of to support the cover story. Meanwhile, the actual training of using LA and huge cities in America as basic ballistic testing was the true story, I'm thinking. So it's going to be interesting to see any kind of further evidence. People are going to be coming out more, I think, with some cell phone footage and other footage that I'm going to analyze and see what kind of video we get, what kind of audio we get from those. But so far, it does seem like it could be a missile defense system originating, or a test originating from San Nicolas Island, with supersonic testing going over LA. The P-8 system was then used to track it, and they're also using other systems as well to not only to simultaneously test their offense and defense, which they usually do with missiles. They usually, when they're testing a missile, they'll also test the anti-missile. So in that region right now, with the world theater ramping up tensions, with China having large destroyers and having large weapons and armament increases, as well as Iran, we're starting to actually ramp up our testing all over the United States. We saw DARPA earlier, late in 2018. We saw huge military training down south. And now we're seeing some anti-ballistic happening in LA, which is a good thing in a way, because we definitely need to brush up on our missiles defense system. So I do think that we are training missile defense coming out of San Nicolas. I also do believe that we were training for maritime searching, which it would be a perfect opportunity. So I'm guessing the reason that they cleared out the naval or cleared out the sea area around San Nicolas Island was probably to do some sort of searching for submersibles, which the P-8 can also do simultaneously, as well as tracking trajectories of land-based missiles and sea-based missiles, which is both very essential to our missile defense system. If some attack is to happen, or were to happen, or theoretical testing attack were to happen in LA, a large probability is it would be a submersible. It wouldn't be coming from land-based, obviously. Less likely to be. It would be coming from a submersible vessel. It would be coming from a sub, a nuclear-powered sub, which both Russia and China has taunted. It has come so close to LA, it could have wiped it off the map many times. So now I think we're just seeing the testing for that. I think that the United States military, Pentagon, the government in general, would have not told the public that it's doing military testing. Obviously, people might get upset that it's so close, but they need to use this certain environment, I'm assuming, for the actual efficiency of the test, as well as the base itself is loaded out. San Nicolas Island, not really a base, but the testing facility, is loaded out with R&D equipment that is essential for the testing. East of Los Angeles, you see the large wastelands, the desert testing facilities, which they can have small ordnance or no ordnance, just empty duds flying into these regions for the testing. So I think it's all adding up to make a little bit more sense for testing, just not the testing that they were training. They're saying training, I'm saying testing. It's not for the training that they're talking about. It wasn't for special operations. It wasn't for 11 Bravo Army infantry personnel. It wasn't for combat controllers or PJs or anything like that. I'm thinking I'm leaning a little bit more towards weapons testing, and if it was public knowledge, they'd have a little bit of an outcry, and also for classified reasons, they want to keep it under wraps. So that may be the case. Again, I'm going to continue investigating into this. The main purpose of this channel is definitely military movement / me making a fool of myself. So / motivational speeches. So I just want to keep you guys. Also, please, if you do live in the area by any chance, keep your eyes in the sky, man. I have a pretty good feeling that we're going to be seeing much more testing in this area in the days to come, because the recent threats that China and Iran has made towards us, specifically with naval and military operations. We're seeing huge naval buildups now, like unprecedented. And we're also seeing huge missile and ordnance, long-range ICBM, surface-to-surface, surface-to-air missiles being produced now because the INF treaty has been dissolved. So please keep your eyes in the skies. If you hear or see anything, please shoot me an email. I'd like to discuss it. Leave your comments down in the comment section below to tell me what you think this could have possibly been, and your ideas and thoughts on it, because this is extremely interesting to me for the reasons I've stated in my last video. But anyway, I am, as you can see, just chilling. I'm cruising. I'm currently going to pick some stuff up for work, so I will probably do a video a little later. But thank you guys so much. Mahalo nui loa for coming in. Until next time, hui ho.